Like,
And I just wanted to like put it out there.
yep.
How are you gonna say a conversation between me and Mike is irrelevant? Come to bed.
Sure?
Yeah,
Positive.
please.
Go back to the couch, but make sure no one comes.
Yeah, make sure no one comes over here.
So let me get this straight. I always don't like to make my reviews about race, but the 4 women of color are the ones with the most negative edits. Why? Hannah is one of the mean girls, and also all she seems to be doing with Marco is having sex. And that's the edit we're getting for her. Okay. Imani is being given the desperate edit because she is now chasing after Bergie because Kyle has turned her down. I don't get that. And then you have KK is being given the doormat edit because Keenan is just walking all over her and she will accept anything and everything he dishes to her. And then Destiny, where do I start? She's the mean girl. She's rude. She's disrespectful. She's got high standards. She's whatever. Why is it they are the only people with such an edit? Why is some people have had the arc whereby they've gone from negative to positive? Nobody remembers how Carmen treated Victor and Bergie. Nobody remembers how Cassie was moving at the start of the show. Why is it everybody else gets to get this hero moment and these 4 girls don't? Why? I don't get it. But anyway, I digress. Hey there, thanks for stopping by. It's Valerie. Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe. We're still trying to get to 1,000. Turn on your notification bell for when I upload new videos. Leave a comment and definitely click like. In this episode, I'll be reviewing Love Island USA, Season 5, Episode 28. Movie night continues and the boys went, so they pick Mean Girls. And it shows the conversation between Cassie and Hannah when they were sort of saying some very nasty things about Cassie, and I'm surprised that they didn't apologize. I didn't hear, and I'm sorry from either one of them, and I am willing to bet that the viewers just let it wash all over their heads because it's Hannah and Carmen. They can never do any wrong. Had that been Destiny, or had that been KK, or had that been Amani, it would have been a totally different story. People would be dragging them for days and calling them all the dirty things that they could think of. And yet Hannah and Carmen made some very sort of belittling and judgmental comments and nobody called them out. And for Carmen to then yell, Leo, you see I was writing for you, you shouldn't have done it. And it's like, this is the wrong time and the wrong place for you to say that. The least you should do is apologize to Cassie before you move on or say anything else, because she did not deserve your comments. And for comments say, oh, Mateo, that was just after one conversation. It doesn't matter. Apologize. Apologize. If you hurt somebody's feelings, you need to apologize. And that's it. There's no 2 ways about it. Next up, the boys win again, so they pick the never-ending video story. And it shows KK receiving the message of Keenan in bed with Naja and everything that happened and how she broke down, how Hannah sort of tried to console her. And while they're watching it, Keenan is busy there, sitting there going, oh yes, at least we finally get to see what you girls saw. At least, and it's like, you are the last person to be talking, sir. You are the last person to be talking. You need to sit down and you need to keep quiet. You need to keep quiet. And then it shows KK crying. And then suddenly Keenan is speechless. He's lost his tongue. And he won't say anything. And it's like, so you had more empathy for Jonay, someone you're not in a couple with, than KK, somebody you've been in a couple with for the past 3-4 weeks. Make it make sense. Make it make sense, because he was busy wiping up Jonay's tears. He was busy consoling her, telling her nobody deserved to be treated like that. And yet he couldn't even apologize. All he said, oh, I hate hurting anyone's feelings. Tell that to KK in front of everyone. Apologize to KK in front of everyone, because now everybody sees how much she cares for you and how much you broke her down. The least you owe her is to say, I am sorry for what you saw. I am sorry I was not a man of my word and I did not respect our boundaries. That's all he should have said. All the guys you could see were in agreement with Hannah when she said, you deserve better than that. This is the end. This is done. And the Casa girls were shocked that KK said it's done. And then she came back and she's back with Keenan like nothing's happened before. It doesn't make sense. I really want to see whoever's caused KK so much trauma, to the extent that she doesn't value her worth this much, that she thinks she deserves what Keenan is dishing to her on national TV. I don't get it. I really don't get it because this now sets the standard for all the guys she's going to date in future because they know they need to do the bare minimum for her to be okay with it. They know that. Whereas with Destiny, guys will know that they have to come in with their A game. With KK, they know that anything is acceptable. And it's not. It shouldn't be. It's the lack of respect for me. It's the lack of respect because the girls win and they choose the bone collector, and it's Kenan. Obviously, a couple of times he had told Nadja that he had a hard on, and he's like, "Oh, you see, I backed up. I backed up. You see, I backed," and it's like you're the last person to speak. In the first one, you should not have spoken, and in this one, you should not have spoken because the lack of respect you have for KK is shocking. And then they show him in bed. It was so uncomfortable that everybody, Bergie wanted just the floor to open up and swallow him. Kenzo, everybody, the girls, Hannah was not even looking because of the second-hand embarrassment they had for KK, the fact that she took him back after he did all this, and for KK to then sit up there and say, "I have nothing to say," and for him to keep quiet doesn't make sense. I don't get why he doesn't apologize in front of every single person that's there to make it known that he regrets what he did. And he should have also owned up and said, "I'm sorry, I lied," and said Nadja was the one who was coming onto me. This is something that I first initiated and gave her the green light, and this is why things happened the way they behaved. Because why would he keep getting a boner for someone he wasn't attracted to? Why would he keep getting a boner for someone who was forcing him to do stuff that he didn't want to do? And for him to tell her, "Oh, I've been the happiest that I've been," you could see on everybody's face it was written that I think they need to send him home. I think if he gets into the bottom, they need to send him home because he's not good for KK psychologically. Yes, her body might be enjoying him touching her, but psychologically, long term, it's not good for her. And the fact that she's set this precedence that she is open to someone cheating on her, she is open to someone not respecting boundaries that she sets with them, she is open to the idea of being disrespected, and she is open to the guy not taking ownership of his actions and apologizing. That's enough. He needs to go home. She doesn't need this, and we don't need to perpetuate the idea that this is okay. This is unacceptable. In any ramification, it's unacceptable. It needs to stop. So after the movie night, the girls sit on their own, the boys sit on their own, and they sort of debrief what's happened. KK says, she was shocked to see what happened in bed because Keenan only told her about the bits outside of the bed, not what happened in bed. And she's asked, "So where do you stand?" And she goes, "I'm numb, I don't know." And you can see it on Hannah's face, you can see it on Destiny's face, you can see it on Carmen's face, that they are washing their hands of the situation because they are fed up, especially Destiny and Hannah. You can see they're indifferent to the situation because they're thinking to themselves, why would you continue to give an opportunity to someone who's disrespected you this much? Why would you continue to put yourself in a position whereby you're subject to emotional abuse from someone? For what? Someone who's not respecting you enough to respect boundaries. And Kenan is telling the boys, "Well, I said everything that needed to be said, and yes, I at times I refused, at times," and it's like, are you delusional? Are you crazy? What's wrong with you? Why can't you take ownership of what you did? The idea and the audacity for you to make allegations that someone forced you into doing something that you didn't want to doesn't make sense. That's sexual assault. So what is he trying to say? Is he saying that Nadia kept forcing him and this is why in the end he gave in? When she said in her interview that he's the one who initiated, he's the one who opened the door to that, and they continue to do whatever they were doing in bed, it's unacceptable for him to say that she forced herself onto him and she tried to force him into doing things that he didn't want to do. When we all saw what he did, Half the time when he was screaming that he's got a boner, she wasn't doing anything to him. So what does he mean? I don't like that. And then we have Cassie and Jonah sort of speaking about their situation with Leo. And I think everybody likes to play victim. Because Leo has apologized countless times. I don't think he needs to continue to apologize. He's told them that they can choose what they want to do. So it's time for them to call it quits. Because for them to call him a child and yet they were willing to take off their knickers and have sex with him doesn't make sense to me. If Jonah knew he was a child, why did she agree to have sex with him? And why did she brag about it the next day? Why couldn't she keep it to herself? I don't understand. And Cassie, she brought someone from Casa. Please, let's keep it moving. I really can't take anymore. And then I have to give credit to Hannah because I criticized her before. She apologized about her comments about Cassie, although she sort of uh, picked at the idea that she apologized that she had said that Leo was better than her. And it's like, but you called her shallow though. You called her shallow. Apologize for that as well. Don't pick and choose what you apologize for. If you don't want to apologize for the whole thing, then just stop. Just leave it at that. So Mateo sits down with Cassie to have a conversation about movie night and how she feels and where they're going from here. And Cassie sort of expresses that she was hurt by what she saw, but at the end of the day, this is the closure that she needs, and she's now happy to sort of pay 100% attention to Mateo and work on their connection because they did have something good in Casa. It was real for her, and she wants to work on that. That's fine. And here we go. I know I'm going to be called out for this, but here we go. So Destiny sits down with Zay for a conversation. Obviously, it's important that they sit down and talk. And Zay is saying to her, why did you feel some type of way about what um, Mike did with Hannah O? And she is entitled to feel how she feels because Mike was telling her one thing and doing something totally different. Mike told her when she went to Casa, they were very on point with Mike. When it came to the elimination, Mike said he and Destiny were exploring something. He wanted to work on that. And so he was going to take time to work on it and he wanted her to stay in the villa. So she stayed in the villa. When she went to Casa, she explored a connection with Zay and brought Zay back without a promise of a romantic connection because she said when she spoke to Mike, she told Mike that I wanted to know where we stand. I wanted to know if things were still good with us. If not, then I'll pay 100% attention to Zay. Mike said to her, I still have feelings for you and I'm still happy for us to continue to work on our connection. I'm never going to shut the door on you. If the door is going to be shut, it's you who's going to shut the door. Fine. He didn't tell her anything about Hannah O. I know someone in the comments was saying to me, well, he's in a couple. Yes, he's in a couple with Hannah O. But if he's exploring a connection with Destiny, the least he needs to tell her is, I just want you to know, yes, I'm exploring a connection with you, but Hannah O and I are a bit more advanced in that we've become physically intimate. So that she knows where they stand. Because Destiny was kissing this man. And we all know Destiny hasn't kissed a lot of these guys in the villa. She's been very particular and very selective in who she's chosen to kiss. I think she's only kissed Marco, Harrison, and Mike. And that's it. Nobody else. So for Zay to say, oh, well, you shouldn't have felt that. She is entitled to feel that way because Mike was telling her that he's open to exploring their connection. He's open to growing that to see if that will grow bigger than what he has with Hannah O. So for him to expect her to emotionally invest in something and not be honest is unacceptable. And she did do the right thing in addressing him in front of everybody. Zay should have had a problem with Destiny had she waited until after movie night and pulled Mike aside because then he would have said, what were you talking about? But she said everything she needed to say in front of every single person in the villa. That way everybody knows where she stands and everybody knows how she feels. There is nothing secret there. So Zay, in my opinion, is wrong. Zay, in my opinion, is wrong. In the sense that, yes, Destiny was not in a couple with Mike, but she was doing things with Mike that people in a couple are more or less doing. The only thing that they didn't have was the couple title, but they were physically intimate. She was spending a lot of time with him. He was giving her the idea that they would recouple at the next recoupling. And so for him to then go behind her back and do whatever he did with Hannah O in bed, and then now pretend, oh, well, she's my couple. Destiny didn't ask for the specifics. All she needed to know was, just a heads up, I want you to know that Hannah O and I kissed during your time away in Casa. We also were physically intimate. So if you're okay with that, let's continue to build out our connection. If you're not okay with that, then I think we need to end things. Then Destiny would have been within her right to make an informed decision, but he omitted certain things that made her make an uninformed decision. So in my opinion, I don't understand why Zay was upset. I think Zay should have waited until the following day to have a conversation with Destiny because he knew Destiny was already hot with the Mike situation. I think he should have allowed her time to breathe. She did come there. She did try to speak to him, and she told him, "Let's speak about us and let's not speak about anybody else." But he liked the idea of bringing in Mike, so he is in the wrong as far as I'm concerned. Destiny is within her rights to express how she feels. He is within his rights to express how he feels, but he should not be offended that she didn't tell him about Mike. She told him she was still exploring that connection. So I don't get why he was upset. I really don't. Who remembers the time when Jonah was venting and shouting and moaning and groaning in the kitchen that Destiny wanted him to be closed off after a few days? Who remembers? I do, because guess what? He sits down with Taylor and he tells her I've decided to be closed off. It's barely been a week. It's barely been a week. Make it make sense. How is it making sense to him now that he's closed off? And yet with Destiny, he was kicking off and telling everybody that Destiny was trying to make him be closed off, even though Destiny had never asked him to be closed off. And Destiny knew that they were not a romantic connection. Make it make sense. I see a lot of gameplay, in my opinion. I see a lot of gameplay in people like Carmen and Kenzo. I see a lot of gameplay in Jonah and Taylor, because the fact that he's decided to be closed off after a few days is giving me wanting to get to the finale, wanting to be the it couple. It's not giving genuine emotional connection as far as I'm concerned. And then from there, Leo comes and he pulls Jonah for a shot. And it's like, why? Why? Leo has apologized enough, as I've said. Because he starts to talk and Jonah is already, oh, you did this to me, you gaslit. In my opinion, I think Jonah thought she was going to be victorious. I think she thought she was the one who was going to win Leo. I think she thought she was going to get to rub it in Cassie's face, the fact that she had won Leo. And so this is why her feelings are hurt, and this is why she's making a mountain out of a molehill, because Leo did not force her to have sex with him. Leo did not force her to get into bed with her. She, after the incident, was bragging about it to one of the Casa girls, and suddenly she's now a victim. She's no one's victim. She is no one's victim. She knew how it was when she went into the situation, so she has to take ownership with a full chest and say it is what it is and move on. Because she says, oh, but I don't know what I was expecting because I knew who you were. Leo told her, I will never say anything that comes across correct. That's because you're not saying the right thing. What is the right thing? That he should tell you that yes, he wants to stay in a couple with you. Is that it? I don't get it. And I have to give Leo credit for being a man of his word, for apologizing for everything he thinks he's done. I wish you'd apologize to him. And I wish you'd apologize to Cassie for sleeping with Cassie's partner in Cassie's bed. So we have Keenan going to sit down with KK. And this is painful to watch. It's like watching a train wreck and you can't do anything to stop it. Or watching someone sort of go downhill and you can't do anything to stop but scream. Because how is she going to sit there and pretend like we all didn't see this man getting a hand job? How is she going to sit there and pretend like we didn't get to see him countless times saying that he was getting a hard on for Naja? And how is she going to believe the fact that he said, I've already told you everything else? I truly want to believe that KK doesn't have feelings for Keenan and that she's just going on with this act for the sake of staying on the show, because there is no way in anyone's right mind that you'd put up with that level of disrespect, that cheating, and still be sitting there and kissing the person. No, because it makes me question whether she's doing all this just because she wants to be on the show, she wants to stay on the show, so she knows that the only guy who will couple up with her is Keenan, or whether she's doing this just because, I don't know. I don't want to say she's dumb. She can't be that dumb. Or she can't be that naive that she would believe any single thing that he tells her. I can't. And having called it, saying that she's going to take him back, it pains me and it breaks my heart to see her be so disrespected and eat up all this nonsense on TV, knowing that the rest of the world is going to see this. Not only that, knowing that her family is going to get to see this. Her co-workers are going to see this. Her patients are going to get to see this. What does that say about her judgment? I know that doesn't say anything about the judgment in her personal life, but what does that say about her judgment or her professional life? What does that say about her judgment when it comes to relationships? I don't get it. So KK tells Mateo that she thinks she's falling in love or she's in love with Kenan, and it's like, I don't know. All I can say about KK is I hope she feels good about herself when she rewatches everything or when they go for the reunion and Naja gets to speak her truth. Because I don't get how she continues to put up with this man. The fact that she invited him back to bed. He didn't want to go and sleep in the bed because he felt guilty that all the other islanders would be giving him a side eye. Not because he wanted to. I think he wanted to sleep in the restroom just because of that. You then have Leo speak with Cassie. I wish KK would take a page out of Cassie's book. I wish he would take a page out of Cassie's book because Cassie is standing her ground and Leo is having to do the grafting and heavy grafting, and I don't know whether he's going to win her back. I hope she decides to give him a second chance because Mateo is moving from one reality TV show to the next looking for his person, so I don't think he's it. Destiny obviously has a chat with KK, sort of telling her about what's happened with Zay and the fact that she had unfinished business, which she needed to, sort out with Mike before she moved on. And so she notices that Zay is not sleeping in the bedroom because Zay was busy telling Hanao and Mateo that he's sleeping in the restroom just because, he just doesn't feel like he wants to be close to Destiny for the night. And for them to say, oh, you'll become decapitated. No. Why do people like making Destiny out to be the villain? Why? Because she stands her ground. They would rather she be walked all over. I don't like that. This is why I felt some type of way about Mike saying that Destiny was attacking Hanao, because they're giving her this label of this angry black woman. So in the morning, you have Kenan and KK run out of the bedroom. I think Kenan is running away from everybody because he knows everybody's giving him a side eye. So he would rather spend his time with KK because he knows she's the only one who'll put up with this mess. And I think he's trying to keep her away from the girls because he thinks they'll tell her to leave him. And everyone wakes up. And Destiny, one thing about her is she's always going to mind her own business. She'll only have an issue with you if you come into her personal space. As long as you stay in your lane and she stays in her lane, you're good. The fact that Hanao is looking for anyone and everyone to help her tag team on Destiny, I do not like that. They go to check up on Zay with Mateo and Cassie, and they're busy making these sarcastic remarks, and it's like, don't come for Destiny, because when she comes for you, then everybody says she's rude, she's boring, she's this, that, and the other. But they forget that Destiny has never gone after anyone who hasn't come for her first. You come for her, she's going to come guns blazing. So please sit down. And then Imani and Kyle sit down for a chat. I can see what the producers are doing. People like Jonah and Taylor, people like Carmen and Kenzie are getting positive edits. They're getting the full circle. They're getting the arc story of going from this bad person to this good person. Whereas all the black couples or all the black ladies are getting this negative edit. It's like now Armani was now the fan favorite, and suddenly she's getting this edit whereby they're showing her, dumping Kyle and being all childish and whatever. They're setting her up for the Destiny treatment. And I have a feeling they're going to give her the deluxe version. If they can give anyone any edit that's worse than what they've given Destiny, I can only imagine what they're going to do to Imani after the edit that they've given Destiny and the edit that they've given KK. Leo pulling KK for a chat makes sense because she says she sees him as a little brother. And also, I don't think any of the other girls in the villa are going to entertain him at this point in time. So I guess I understand why he pulled KK. For him to start getting the ball in motion to make his way towards winning Cassie back, I think it's going to take a lot, as Cassie said, because she appreciated it, but it's going to take a lot more because he's lost the trust that they had, and she's always going to be thinking about who is he in bed with next time. She's never going to believe him. I think they should just move on. Marco to say, wow, that's amazing. That's a grand gesture. It's like, oh, Marco, what are you doing here? Who made you, the know-it-all? I think Hannah has been good for Marco because she's kept him out of trouble. She really has. She's always kept him entertained. Anyway, she's a teacher. She knows how to entertain little kids. So she's kept him entertained. So he hasn't gotten anybody else's business or he hasn't created any problems for them. So let's get this right. So Destiny is edited as, this disrespectful person, this rude, obnoxious person, this person who's inconsiderate of anyone else's feelings but herself. KK is someone you can walk all over and she'll put up with anything and everything because, she's so love-strong. You have Amani being edited as someone who is desperate and will go after anyone and everyone just so she stays in a couple. And now Hannah is the horny one. Make it make sense. Make it make sense. It's one thing if they edit one person to have a negative, edit. But it's another thing if it's 4 different people and they're all getting negative edits. I don't get it. So you have Imani sit down with Bergie to say, she's open to getting to know him. And it's like, this is producer driven. This is producer driven. What about it says Imani is interested in Bergie? And why would she suddenly be interested in Bergie? If anything, she should have gone after Jonah because Jonah is the one she was interested in prior to Casa Amor. Make it make sense. Why is it suddenly she's decided to be in a love triangle, Taylor and Bergie? And Bergie, on his own, you can tell he's uncomfortable. He doesn't know what to say. He doesn't want to come across as disrespectful, but he doesn't know what to say. Even when she brings him the pancakes, I think he didn't like them because he didn't eat them that much. As soon as he put it in his mouth, he said, "Oh, this tastes amazing." I think he was being polite, but he didn't know how to behave. And I don't like that for Imani. She's not desperate. All these guys are punching when it comes to Hannah, when it comes to Destiny, Imani, KK. These are highly intelligent ladies. These are educated people. And they're just pairing them up with these corner shop boys. I don't get it. So Bergie then runs to have a conversation with Hannah and Marco. And it seems Hannah and Marco have other ideas because they are falling in love and they've decided to have an afternoon quickie. And it's like, why? Why did we need to see that? Why? Why would they need to show us that? And yet when other people are doing it, we barely see anything. There's nothing I hate more than a hypocrite. Really, there's nothing I hate more than that. Because you have Leo pull Cassie for a chat and he's apologizing again. He's apologized countless times for what's happened. He spoke about their connection and how great it was before Casa. And he's trying to win Cassie back. And then you have John Ace walk in and see the message he had written for Cassie. She then sits down to chat with Taylor and she's saying, Leo the liar, he's a manipulator and is this. And it's like, this man did not force you to take off your knickers. You took off your knickers yourself. You bragged about his equipment the morning after, saying how amazing it was. Now suddenly, because things didn't go your way, you're writing a song about him. Please, make it make sense. Show your age and not your shoe size. Don't be very immature to the extent that you're so blinded by your hatred that Leo didn't choose you that you're going to start making him the villain and yourself the victim. That's not good enough. You, with your full chest, took off your knickers, laid there, had sex with him. The following morning, bragged about how big his equipment was and how amazing it was. And now that, reality has hit and you just realize that, no, actually Cassie is better for him than you suddenly started labeling him a manipulator, a villain, and this, that, and the other. I don't get it. And the fact that she wants Leo to go home just because he's decided to go back to his connection, which she felt was stronger, doesn't make sense. It's time for her to go home and explain to her family why she allowed a 21-year-old to have sex with her on national TV. So the Islanders have received a text message to say that, America has voted and there will be an elimination tonight. And it's Live It on Red or Red Wedding. And so everybody's very anxious because they don't know what's going to happen. They all dress in red. The boys are dressed in black. They all look amazing. And Sarah Hyland arrives and to announce the bottom 8. Am I surprised? No. If I'm going to be honest, no, because the people that have been in the villa the longest have built a fan base, whereas people that have just come in have barely got airtime and they've also barely built a fan base that will vote for them to be safe in the villa. I am surprised that Taylor, I don't know whether it's SOC, the one coupled up with Bergie, that she was in the bottom. I would have assumed that people would have voted to save her, given the fact that she's been the only person that has arrived in saying I'm here for Bergie and has gone all in on Bergie. So I would be surprised. I'm really surprised that she's in the bottom. The other Taylor with Jonah, no, I'm not surprised really because she's barely got any airtime. I think the only reason she would have stayed or been popular would have been if Carmen wasn't there. But because the 500 already have Carmen. I don't think they're really bothered either way whether she goes home. Hannah O, I'm not surprised that she's in the bottom given the fact that she didn't do what the producers wanted her to do, which is split up Hannah and Marco. Instead, she actually made them stronger, so I'm not surprised she's in the bottom. And then Jonay is obviously in the bottom because of her thing with Leo. With the guys, the only person that shocked me, not really shocked though, is Zay. I think Zay is in the bottom because the fans were talking about the fact that he followed certain people who are controversial online, and I think this is the reason why he's in the bottom, because the other two Casa guys are safe. Leo, Mike, and Keenan being in the bottom, I'm not surprised. And the fact that Keenan is busy being lighthearted and is blowing kisses at KK, I think he's doing that because he wants people to save him. But the girls are not buying his crap, and I think the only reason they'll say yes to saving Keenan is if KK fights really hard for him. Otherwise, if given a chance, the girls would send him home. Imani would send him home, Hannah would send him home, Cassie would send him home, Carmen would send him home. So the only reason why he would stay is because Destiny is always going to go wherever KK goes. And if KK wants Keenan to stay, then Destiny is going to keep him in the villa. I hope they do what they started off by doing, because Hannah is told that she's the one with the lowest votes. So I hope they go by public vote and they don't go by what the islanders want. And it's interesting that they've decided to go by public vote. I don't know whether it's because despite the fact that Harrison and Emily got the lowest votes, they still complained that they should not have gone home. And it's like, why are you complaining? It's not yes, the islanders said that, but still the public vote would have sent you home. So I'm happy that it appears they're sending people according to public vote and not by what the islanders think. Does Destiny deserve to be in the villa? Yes, she does. Yes, she does. Because if you go online, especially on Twitter, she's the person that people talk about the most. She is the one that's making their social media pop. And so if they send Destiny home, who are they going to talk about? They've made her the villain, and people have bought into that either to defend her or be against her. So if they send her home, there's no one who's going to bring them traffic online, and they need the traffic for the show to be popular. So I think she deserves to be still in the villa. Because of the fact that the producers have continued to give her negative after negative after negative edit. And I think the more she's talked about online, the more negative the producers are. Because we saw her hug with Zay. We saw her be on Zay's arm. We saw her sitting next to Zay. We saw how sort of bothered she was when Zay was called out. Yes, she did sort of close her eyes when Mike was called out. I don't know whether that was in celebration or whatever, but Zay being called out affected her. So I wanted to stay in the villa. It's not her fault that the producers keep sending in people that are interested in who she's coupled up with. It's not her fault that she's setting standards for what is minimum requirement for her. That does not mean she should go home. If people cannot match her energy, then that's it. We can't have a live island where everybody's just being walked all over, or everybody's just handing out hand jobs like it's candy. But anyway, I digress. Thanks guys for watching. Please don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Bye everyone.